Today on the show, a toy monkey wreaks havoc in the better version of The Devil's Gift. Zachary Levi learns to love his autistic son in The Unbreakable Boy, and Daisy Ridley saves her autistic brother from a gang of gun-packing environmentalists in Cleaner. Odd watching those two back-to-back. Let's see how they play out. Based on Stephen King's 1980 short story, this movie adaptation by Osgood Perkins is the ultimate in taking the shittiest parts of life and having a sense of humor about it. Whether it's finding comedy in growing up, estranged family relationships, tragedy, or mass death, you could be impaled with a surfboard, your head set on fire, you could explode in a swimming pool, all because an evil toy monkey will kill someone when he gets wound up. But the attitude is, well, that's life, I guess. Through it, it tackles themes of guilt, the darkest wishes of your subconscious, and when your thirst for revenge is so strong, you might wipe out a whole town just to get to one person. The story revolves around Theo James, who has been taunted by this monkey since he was a kid, and this is a very funny performance from him. He plays twin brothers, and both are very different and very amusing, whether it's Hal, who wants to protect people from the monkey, or Bill, who's just an asshole. Even the editing is funny. It'll cut someone off mid-sentence and then cut right to a tragedy that's already happened. It has that kind of dark sense of humor that you could watch along with other King movies like Maximum Overdrive or Creepshow and have a very fun night. You can tell the monkey is king in that it has these flashback scenes where here it's set in 1999 but feels way more like the 50s or 60s. Sometimes that can be distracting because even in the present day scenes there's all of these landlines and phone books and even the soundtrack. I was wondering if they did want to set it in 1980 but maybe couldn't for budget reasons. It does have fun with King tropes, though. Theo James's narration is great and sounds a little like the Stand By Me narration, only if he was talking about decapitations. There's a pack of bullies here that look like teen girl extras from High School Musical, but talk like Buddy Repperton. Hell, you could say there's references to other King references. We may not have Arnie Cunningham in it, but Corey Cunningham is in it with a bad wig. But he gets some good laughs in it. It really is a great time, but such a great time that at the end I was like, oh man, I could have used a little more. It's an A-. It's one of the best King adaptations in a while, and really relishes in the macabre. And yes, I did get the monkey popcorn bucket. It cursed me too. I had to watch The Unbreakable Boy afterwards. Stay tuned.
Don't be a goober, Daddy-o. Jester is the best one. It's the Mountain Dew Code Red of hacks.
Oh, is it? I didn't know. Why is that?
The chicks dig it.
Oh, dude.
Ugh. So The Unbreakable Boy is the true story of Austin, a 13-year-old with brittle bone disease and autism. I'm talking about that like he's the main character in this, but he's not. What the movie is actually about is his father Scott, played by Zachary Levi, who between losing his job, the medical expenses, and his broken dreams, he turns to the gift of booze till his alcoholism nearly destroys his marriage. But don't expect it to get that deep about any of these things. This is more after school specially, right down to the wild tonal shifts. It opens with Scott drunk driving with his kids in the car, and then Austin's narration comes in, along with Diary of a Wimpy Kid style editing, to tell us how much he likes ranch dressing and Back to the Future. I'll give it this though, it was unpredictable. It has a twist in the first 15 minutes. Scott has a best friend named Joe, an adult bearded man who hangs out with him all the time, till Austin comes in to say, by the way, Joe there, he doesn't exist. He's actually my dad's imaginary friend. He's had him since he was 9. You know, like in the movie Fight Club. The movie references Fight Club, not me. Later on in a Halloween scene, Joe is dressed like Tyler Durden. This was a baffling story decision. When Austin is born, Joe, the imaginary friend, faints in the delivery room. Mom and Dad will be fighting, and Joe says to him, your hands still smell like poo. There's a part where Scott loses his job because a coworker sees him drunk at a bar, talking to no one, and ordering an invisible man a drink. Why are we not dealing with this? What is happening? It's like it wants to be both Wonder and Harvey, and it doesn't go together at all. But it's just one of the many things this movie doesn't really deal with. They have mountains of medical bills, but I guess going to church takes care of that. Mom pours Dad's wine down the drain, and Dad goes to AA. Problem solved. And Austin is less a fully fleshed out character and way more like a wisecracking neighbor kid you'd see on a family sitcom in the 90s. He's really just fodder for shenanigans like, oh, there he goes, running around the church in his underwear again. And I don't even know who in the hell Joe is supposed to be, but he's played by Drew Powell, so I'm just left thinking that his character on The Pit is also imaginary. He looks the same in both things. This was a D. I would say that it's just a shallow, slightly annoying inspiration porn, but it's actually way weirder than that, and none of it is good. Up next, Daisy Ridley has it far better. She's stuck 30 floors up outside of a building, far away from the Unbreakable Boy movie. Stay tuned. From director Martin Campbell, a party near the top floor of an energy company comes to a halt when the building is taken over by a group of environmentalists armed with explosives. But the one person they didn't count on, Daisy Ridley, the window washer outside, who is ex-military and has been skilled at climbing since she was a kid. That will thwart their plan of exposing this company for all the crooked schemes they've done to pollute the environment, and the CEO's covering up the murder of a potential whistleblower. At first I was like, so who am I supposed to root for? But it's okay, they make the villains deranged killers where there's instantly a coup amongst them. One of the bad guys kills a man by jamming a bottle down his throat, and the leader is like, no, this is not the way. Though I do like the switch out, where the person who we think is the main villain actually isn't. This is like Die Hard if every hostage was Ellis, and if John McClane spent most of the movie hanging outside the window, and if instead of rescuing his wife, he has to rescue his autistic brother who literally carries a Thor hammer with him everywhere he goes, and you bet your ass he uses it as a weapon. When Daisy Ridley explains her plan to him, she puts it in Avengers terms by saying, okay, this is just like an Endgame, you follow? All I gotta do is steal the leader's Infinity Stones. And her brother is like, huh, I understand now. And yet, it's still better than the Unbreakable Boy. As silly as the movie is, there are decent things about it. It sets up its characters well, giving us plenty of time with them to either like or dislike them before the action kicks in. There's moments of good suspense, especially if you're afraid of heights. There's a lot of hanging outside the building. Daisy Ridley is very good, a lot better than the material. There's some odd running jokes, like frequent Piers Morgan references. At one point, the brother asks himself, what would Piers Morgan do? Sometimes it has a problem with pacing. There's a lot of times when the action halts so we can see these confession videos the hostages are forced to make. Or I don't know how admissible any of this is. They're doing it at gunpoint. But before you get too restless, it wraps up pretty fast. I was expecting there to be a half hour or more left when it just bolts to the climax. I do like a lot of Die Hard clones, and this is a throwback to that, but less one of the theatrical ones like Under Siege or Sudden Death, but more like one you'd see late at night on cable like Cracker Jack or Exit. It works for that. I never felt like I should be seeing this in theaters, but as a rental, it gets the job done in that department, so it's a C+. Thanks for watching, everyone. Next week, I'll have reviews for Last Breath and more, and we'll see you next time.